Well, good morning and welcome to everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for this information session. This is the fourth Smart Mobility Community Challenge from the region of Durham, supported by the Durham RTDS. And today's challenge is the Dynamic Curve Warning Challenge. And the purpose of this session is to provide companies interested in proposing a solution an opportunity to get a better understanding of the challenge. Questions, I just want to remind you that questions must be submitted through the Durham Region bids and tender page on the region website. And this is because we're following a procurement process, and all such information really needs to be available to all proponents for this. And as a reminder, all SMEs can also apply to be a client of the Durham RTDS in parallel with this challenge. In other words, you don't have to wait to the end, and you can receive no-charge services that will assist you move your technology further. And if you're a large corporation and you're looking to enhance your access to a portfolio of innovative SMEs in the area of your interest, then you're welcome also to become a partner in the Durham RTDS. And please reach out to us through the Durham RTDS website. Just a high-level agenda for today's session. Following this, I'm going to be welcoming Steve Kemp, who is the Manager of Traffic Engineering and Operations at the Regional Municipality of Durham, and he's going to walk us through the challenge. We'll have some housekeeping information, and then we're going to welcome John George, who is the Sector Manager, Automotive and Mobility Innovation at OCI, to talk about the funding that is available to proponents, and then we'll close off with a few comments and reminders on that. So it's now my pleasure to welcome Steve Kemp from the region of Durham to the stage. Steve, welcome.
Thank you, Chris, and I'm really happy to be joining today to talk about Durham RTDS Challenge number 4, our dynamic curve warning project. So greetings to everybody that has tuned in, and I'm happy to share a little more detail about this opportunity. I'm just going to advance my slides. So I'll start off with just a little bit of background about the region of Durham. I'm sure most are aware of many of these facts, but we're a large regional municipality to the east of the Rouge River, east of Toronto. We're a very large regional jurisdiction geographically. We're about 4 times the size of the city of Toronto geographically, but 1/4 of the population. So the vast majority of our region, we're about 2,500 square kilometers. The vast majority of the region is classified as rural. Our population is about 700,000. And 85% of our residents live in the urban lakefront municipalities along Lake Ontario. We're responsible for the operation and maintenance of 830 kilometers of regional roads, and we maintain over 600 traffic signals across the region as well. So this challenge is partly focused on trying to give a little more attention to the rural area of our region. Generally, when we think about intelligent transportation systems and smart mobility, a lot of times your thoughts right away go to more of an urban environment. But in this case, we have a challenge in our rural areas that we are thinking that there may be some innovative solutions to address. So with that, let's just get into a little more detail here on exactly what the challenge is about. So the photo on the screen you'll see is a typical what we call a rural skewed intersection. It's difficult to say. So we also call them county curves, a little easier to say. And the particular one on the screen is actually in the township of Scugog at Graham Road and Shirley Road. So basically a county curve, as I'll refer to it, is kind of a a standard really 90-degree intersection where a curve has been built or constructed to join the two legs of the intersection, and that curve is there to kind of facilitate the prime movement of traffic through a location like this. The heavier volume of traffic tends to be along the curve, and the traffic along the curve also tends to be higher speed. But what you end up with is a severely skewed intersection at either end of these curves, and it presents some challenges for us from operations and safety perspective. In total, we have 22 of these skewed intersections across the region of Durham. These types of intersections exist all over the province of Ontario, so they're not unique to us, but they are a unique configuration. And as a driver, if you're not familiar with the design, they can be a little bit intimidating to navigate. So we're looking for some opportunities to make these a little simpler for people. So a bit more specific on what those challenges are. So again, on the photo, the same location on the right, we're going to refer to two particular kind of, we call them driver path conflict points at an intersection like this. So at the bottom of the image, as we call it a left turn diverge access, or LTD access, and north is to the top of your screen. So you can envision a driver approaching this intersection from the south, driving northbound. They kind of have two choices at this point. They can either continue to proceed along the curve, which in this case is Shirley Road, or they have the option of proceeding onto Graham Road as well. So there's kind of two path decision points at the left turn diverge. At the top right of the screen is the other end of this curve intersection, and we call it a right turn diverge. And in this case, traffic traveling westbound on Shirley Road have the option of either continuing along the curve to proceed to the south, or they can continue straight onto the side road to access Graham Road. So these types of intersections and conflict points create some challenges, and they create some unique operational issues. And some of those issues are conspicuity, which is just a reference to the fact that because of the angles of these intersections, the sight lines for drivers as they have to make some of these maneuvers can be pretty challenging. So it's not like a typical intersection where other vehicles would be approaching you at a 90-degree angle from the left or the right. These approach angles are pretty severe, and it's not always in kind of the direct normal line of sight for a driver as they're passing through a location like this. These intersections also create some problems or issues for driver expectancy, because it's just not typical. And for people that use these types of intersections every day, you grow to understand how they work. But for somebody that may be traveling through one for the first time, maybe caught a little bit off guard by some of the conflicting movements that take place. And thirdly, they generate driver workload challenges. So we know that one of the best ways to improve safety at our intersections is just to try to minimize distraction and the workload that drivers have to face as they're along their trips. And just because of the complexity of these intersection designs, it pushes the limits of what a driver is able to comprehend and take in. So we're really looking for ways to simplify the operation for them. So more specifically, again, really the two most critical movements that we're concerned about at the left turn and right turn diverge accesses at these intersections are shown in yellow in the image to the right. So if we talk about the left turn diverge first, which is the one at the bottom of the photo, if you can envision a driver proceeding northbound on this roadway, the main movement for traffic in that direction would be to continue along the curve. But there is a possibility of those drivers continuing on Graham Road to the north. And visually, it looks like like you're continuing straight along the roadway, like a continuous through movement. But it's actually kind of it's more like a left turn move, at least from an operations perspective, because those vehicles proceeding straight on Graham Road have to navigate through gaps in fairly high speed traffic coming towards them on the curve on the main line. And it's a little bit unexpected for somebody that hasn't been through an intersection like this before. So again, it feels like you're going straight, but you actually have to you have to make that move pretty carefully to ensure that there's a gap in traffic coming in the opposing direction. On the other end of the curve, the right turn diverge, which is at the top right, the issue is kind of in the opposite direction. So the challenge in this case is traffic coming out of this minor side street, accessing the main road. So in this scenario, they're faced with a stop sign. So they're stopped as they approach the curve. But if they're intending to make a left turn onto Shirley Road, it feels like you're proceeding through in a straight line, but reality is you have to treat it more like a left turn move where you're looking for gaps in the traffic on the main road on Shirley Road. So it's a little counterintuitive and atypical, which causes us it causes us to really think about trying to find ways of just simplifying this operation for people. So both of these movements involve potential conflicts in the receiving lanes as they complete their turns, and they're entering an environment where there's a potential for high speed conflicts along this curve, which obviously can end in a result that we wouldn't want to see with a high speed collision. So in particular, unfamiliar drivers may have a hard time recognizing the potential conflicts that exist at some of these intersections. So as I mentioned, we have 22 of these county curve locations in the region. We had done a pretty comprehensive study several years ago looking at these, and we prioritized them all from a risk perspective. And for the purpose of this challenge, we identified 3 locations that we think make the most sense for proponents seeking to participate in this to take a closer look at. So these are county curve intersections in the region where we'd be looking for the successful partner to work with us on implementing some kind of safety countermeasure to deal with some of the conflicts and issues that I just mentioned. So all 3 of them are in Brock Township, which is the most northernmost local area municipality within Durham region. And all 3 are fairly close to the community of Beaverton, which is on the shores of Lake Simcoe. So all of them on Regional Road 23, otherwise known as Lake Ridge Road or Beach Road. The first one is at the intersection of Commodore Road. The second one at the intersection of Thora Park Boulevard. And the third one at the intersection of Beach Road and Thora Concession 1 Road. And again, all 3 in Brock Township. Very similar configurations to the intersection that I was showing in the previous slides. So specifically, our challenge our challenge statement for this project. Durham Region we're working to create safer roads for drivers in our rural areas. And this is really a big part of our overall Vision Zero plan to respond to injuries and fatalities that are happening on our road system. So in particular, in this case, we are challenging the business community to find ways to make our rural skewed intersections or county curves safer for road users. And we're thinking potentially some technology or other innovative solution that can increase the awareness of the risks associated with these high-speed county curves and their conflict points. So the successful challenge participants will be able to pilot their solutions at the high risk county curve locations that were identified in the previous slide. So the ideal solution that we're looking for in response to our challenge would be able to address all or a number of these points. So we're looking for an improved level of safety for road users at these county curve intersections through some type of dynamic curve warning system. We believe that system should be able to factor in the speeds of approaching vehicles as they enter the curve. We believe these systems should be able to factor in the variability that results due to variation in road and weather conditions. We'd like to see something that can potentially interface with third-party in-vehicle navigation systems to provide feedback back to the drivers about the intersection that they are approaching and the potential conflicts that exist. We'd like to be able to notify drivers of those potential conflicts and hazards. And we're also looking to provide us and our traffic management center staff some ability for remote monitoring of these locations and data collection so that we can have real-time data on the traffic volume, the operating speeds, analysis of near misses and incidents, and just a real way for us to understand driver behavior as they're going through these complex intersections. So that's the end of my presentation and the summary of our fourth Durham RTDS challenge. And thank you for your attention, and we look forward to your participation. Thank you very much.
Great, and thanks, Steve. That's really quite, I think, an interesting sort of challenge, and I guess it's just another example of the complexity that we have relied on up to now of having humans navigate these sort of scenarios. And I would expect in this case, winter conditions might even make this more prone to incidents. I don't know, have your information showed any seasonal component to it, or?
Yeah, definitely. So especially in this part of Durham region, so it's fairly it's surprisingly north, and when you look at it geographically on the map, it's up there quite a ways. Yeah. And we see quite a bit of variation in weather conditions across our large geography, and this area in particular can see some pretty challenging road and weather conditions. The conflicts I mentioned happen in any type of weather, and actually for whatever reason it more seems to be the bright sunny days in the spring when people get out on these low volume rural roads the first on a motorcycle, the first spring day, first nice sunny day. Those are when we have issues, not so much in the wintertime. Okay. But in the winter we do see more single vehicle run off the road type of collisions at these curves, where people maybe come in at a rate of speed higher than they should be for the conditions. So there's also an opportunity for this challenge to address that kind of scenario as well.
Yeah, no, that's really quite interesting. And I guess if people are interested and they submit questions, if they have further questions, then you and your staff will be able to respond to those and just provide them answers to what they might be asking. That
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, we're here to help with any anything that they can come up with, and we're just this is not an easy challenge. These intersections have existed like this for a long time, and
Yes.
these challenges have been there for a long time. And the problem is the traffic volumes in some of these rural areas are increasing, and what was maybe acceptable 10 years ago, we just can't live with anymore. So we're curious what people are going to come up with, because it's because we don't have a quick fix for it. So we're hoping that that some of these there may be some out there that can come up with some solutions for us.
Absolutely. No, it's a great point. And, thanks very much. I think this is a great challenge, and certainly one that we're looking forward to seeing what technology or innovative sort of solutions may be proposed. So thank you so much for explaining it and bringing that to everyone's attention today, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay. Take care now. Thank you. So again, just remember, if you have further questions for Steve and his people, please put those in the bids and tender page at the region of Durham, and they'll get addressed in an addendum that all will hear. So before we go to our funding and hear about what's available there for or supporting any winner of the challenge, I'd just like to remind our audience of the benefits of becoming a client of the Durham RTDS. And again, these are services that are at no cost or very low cost to you. So taking advantage of them would certainly be worthwhile. And first in this is just a reminder that successful proponents will need to apply for funding to support their project, and they can receive assistance through the Durham RTDS partners to help with those funding applications. We do this all the time. That's our business, and that can be very, very helpful to you. And also, you get an introduction to an incredibly collaborative ecosystem in Durham region that will help you focus on making your particular, project a success. Just a reminder that the region is made up of basically 8 other municipalities where we can garner test beds and other support that you might need. And that, as we were talking about in this challenge, the region of Durham has a wide variety of test environments really across all different weather conditions. And as Stephen mentioned, that this is not a challenge that is unique to Durham. It's across Ontario, and I would hazard to say probably across the globe. So if you can come up with a solution here in nice fine weather and then inclement weathers, that I think would be really a great market for someone to actually break into. And a reminder that, in parallel to the challenge, it doesn't have to be related. You can receive a number of services from the Durham RTDS. They range from business development, introductions to customers, introduction to angels or investors, to specific and specialized technical services delivered by the academic institutions with specialized knowledge and skills. So we have all of that plus support in developing and managing your project, all at no cost to you. So I would encourage you to check it out at the Durham RTDS website, which is down on the lower corner of the screen. So now on to the funding that a successful proponent will need. And by the way, you can get this funding. It does not have to be attached to a challenge as well. But I'd like to welcome John George from Ontario Centre of Innovation, who is the Sector Manager, Automotive and Mobility Innovation. Welcome, John. And maybe you'd like to do a little bit of an introduction for our audience.
Thank you, Chris. My name is John George, and I'm the Sector Manager for the Automotive and Mobility Innovation portfolio at Open for the Open programs at OCI. In my capacity, I go across the province and interact with companies, SMEs across the province. And before I go much more into my role, I would like to give give an overview on what Open is. Open is the Ontario Vehicle Innovation Network, and we are a key component of the Government of Ontario's Driving Prosperity Plan. what Oven is, we're basically capturing the economic potential of the automotive mobility technology, and we're helping shape Ontario's future in the automotive mobility sector. We are a network that connects all the stakeholders across the province, and by virtue of that, we have funding to provide at a macro level and at a micro level. And at a macro level, we fund these regional cluster organizations to foster innovation at a local level. And we have 7 of these sites, of which the Durham RTDS is one. And we're proud to support Durham RTDS with their challenges that are focusing on mobility, which is basically the movement of people and goods on public roads and railways. We also have microeconomic opportunities that are in the form of Open R&D Partnership Fund, which are aimed at companies that are looking to grow and scale technologies in the space. So in my capacity, it's my job to go across the province, interact with SMEs, academic institutions, M&Es, and help them access the open offerings, and also help them connect with each other and foster innovation across the province.
Great. Well, and thank you for that intro, John. I guess in your role, you're likely seeing a wide variety of types of organizations interested in the funding that OCI provides. So maybe I could ask you to talk specifically about what are the eligibility requirements that a company needs to meet to be considered to be eligible for OVEN funding.
That's a great question, Chris. Firstly, the main requirement for a company to receive open funding is that they have to be a for-profit SME with Ontario base of operations. So you have to be incorporated in Ontario. And the legal definition of an SME is that you have to have less than 500 employees globally, which means that your total employee count across the globe should be less than 500. Generally, Canadian subsidiaries of major M&Es are not eligible because of the fact that they have globally more than 500 employees. But there can be some reservations made if they have a very good case to make. And what we look for in these projects, or what we look for in these applications, are we're looking for projects that foster partnership and collaboration between partners. And at the core of it, what we're looking to do is we're looking to help the SME or the applicant de-risk their scale-up process, or de-risk their commercialization process. So it's a project that is focused on prototyping, product development, technology development, validation, and eventually a demonstration in an actual use case. So these projects have to be measured, focused, and demonstrable, and it also has to demonstrate a strong commercial and market pull.
Great. Well, thank you. And that would actually, when you think of the 500 number and below that, would identify a number of companies at various stages in their development. And so OCI actually has a number of programs that really fit a wide variety of needs in this. Maybe would you like to maybe give us a little bit of information on what the objectives are for some of the specific funding programs that you can offer?
Yeah, definitely, Chris. So as part of the Open mandate, we focus on mobility, which is the movement of people and goods, as I mentioned, on roadways and railways. And because of that, we focus on 4 main areas. We focus on the areas that are best described by the acronym CASE, or in some cases, people use the acronym ACES. What that stands for: K stands for, the C stands for connected, A stands for autonomous, and S stands for smart mobility, and E stands for electrification. So connected, autonomous, shared, and smart mobility, and electrification. These are the 4 main areas that we focus our energy on, or these are the 4 main areas where we see the most innovation in the mobility sector. So our funding is aimed at supporting technology development in these areas. So we have 4 main programs that are associated with these areas. We have the first program that is focused on the CAV and smart mobility section. So it's focused on technologies that make movement of people and goods more connected. So it includes fleet management, telematics solutions, infotainment solutions, GPS solutions, navigation systems, so on and so forth, the entire length and breadth, even micromobility solutions, because they micromobility solutions and shared mobility, they form part of the CAV and smart mobility section. Under the EV section, we look at anything that is related to electrification. So everything from the start of that value chain, right from the critical mineral opportunity. So development of novel materials for batteries, so on and so forth, to processing is not part of our mandate, but the materials, technology associated with that, powertrains, charging solutions, DC infrastructure, everything falls from along that value chain falls within the scope of that. So that's the two main programs. And within those two main programs, we have a Stream 1 and Stream 2 opportunity.
Right.
The Stream 1 opportunities are for smaller programs, and where in those Stream 1 programs, the maximum Owen contribution can go up to $100,000. So Owen's contribution to a project is always going to be 1/3 of your total project budget. So for a Stream 1 project, your total project budget has to be $300,000, and Owen would contribute 1/3 of that for $100,000. And then we also have the Stream 2 opportunity, which is for the bigger asks. So in the Stream 2 project opportunities, you can go up to $3 million on your total project budget, and Owen would contribute up to $1 million maximum towards your project at a 1/3. So Stream 1s and Stream 2s are there across the CAV and EV program. The Stream 1s are shorter projects, 1 year in total length, and they have a rolling intake, which means that there's no deadline. The Stream 2s, the duration of a Stream 2 project can go up to 2 years, and they are only open twice every year, so they have specific intakes. And then we have a third program known as the Winter Tech program, which is focused on winterization of the case space. So any technologies, let's say, CAV technologies, they use a lot of sensors, and sensors have a hard time working in winter conditions. So that might be a specific challenge associated with winterization of CAV. So that can be addressed using the Winter Tech funding. Similarly, DC chargers and batteries, they have suboptimal performance with below a certain temperature range. That can be a Winter Tech challenge associated with electrification. So those can be addressed using the Winter Tech Winter Tech program. Within the Winter Tech program, we don't have streams. We just have one program where the maximum Owen contribution is $500,000 for 1/3 again of a total project budget of $1.5 million. So that's the maximum ask for Winter Tech. Okay. And then the fourth program is our last program. It's known as the Talent Edge program, which is basically aimed at helping companies hire talent to do STEM-related research in their companies. So it's an opportunity for the Ontario talent to get exposed to the cutting-edge work being done in the ecosystem. So we help companies hire interns, graduates, even fellows with our Talent Edge program. So that's a general overview of what the funding that can be gotten through the Open program.
Okay, that's a good. Thank you very much for that, John. And on the Stream 2, would the periods, the opening, be on the Oven website? Is that where companies could find when that's open? Okay. Good.
Yeah. So as I told you, the Stream 2s are open twice every year. So we have intakes usually during the spring season and then in the fall season. If you go to our website, ovenhub.ca, you will be able to see the latest dates for those programs. So right now, as it stands, I mean, as the day on which we are recording, we are done with both our runs for the year of 2023. The next round will be opening in the spring season of 2024. Okay. So it's something to look out for.
Yep. Okay. No, that's perfect. Thank you. And I know in your role, John, you get to see like a lot of these applications. Some maybe could be better. So maybe I could ask you to kind of talk to what maybe are the main components of an Oven application, and what are the key things companies need to pay attention to have a good, solid application, and maybe, on the role of primary partners and how you see all of that.
Perfect. Great question. So talking about the components of the application. So as I told you, we have a Stream 1 and Stream 2 opportunity. The Stream 1s are single stage application. So where it's a rolling intake. So all you need to do is talk to us, the sector managers or the BD managers, and we will take you through the process. And what happens is that you get access to our portal, and the application is opened up to you. The Stream One, it's considerably a smaller application with not a lot of work to be done, but the same thing is there. The thing there is that Stream Ones are for lower contributions from Owen. So that's the thing to keep in mind. The Stream 2, on the other hand, for the bigger asks, is a two-stage process. So as I told you, in Stream 1, it's a single-stage application. You get into the portal, you complete the application, you submit it, it goes through a review process. And based on the scores of your review, you get decided whether you're funded or not. So that's the process for the Stream 1 application. The Stream 2 has two stages. The first stage is known as the EOI stage, or the expression of interest stage. So this is the stage where these applications are put through, or we ask the applicants to fill a high-level summary of the project. So there's a 4-page, 5-question document where they provide high-level summary of the document. It is then submitted and goes through review process, and the review will let them know if they're invited to the full proposal, which is the next stage. The full proposal is where they have a 40 to 50-page application, which is a real work because the ask is more from Owen too. And once that is done, they go through another review process, and there's a presentation component at the very end where the applicants and the primary partners are invited to present to the panel, and then the decision is made. And maybe this is a good opportunity for me to tell you what I mean by the primary partner.
Yeah, that would be good.
A primary partner is a key component to any Owen project. It is a mandatory requirement for our Owen projects. A primary partner, you would call them a customer. We would call them a primary partner. The main goal of a primary partner to be this project is to provide evidence of market pull or be a viable market channel. So we want to know that this technology that you're developing, the applicant or the SME is developing, is valid, and there is a genuine market case for this, right? And that is verified and validated by the fact that we have a primary partner, a bigger company that is demonstrating that there is requirement and they're willing to work with the SME to commercialize that. So with respect to eligibility for a primary partner, anyone across the globe can be a primary partner. Even regions like Durham region, municipalities, they all can be primary partners because municipalities and regions, they own a lot of the roads, and a lot of these applications are road based. So from that perspective, municipalities and regions can be the market puller for your solution. M&Es can be, OEMs, they all can be primary partners. A company that is going to be a viable market channel for you, they all can be primary partners. We don't need them to have Ontario operations, but having Ontario-based operations is good for you because you are able to leverage the contribution that they put towards the project. Because as I told you, if you remember, the total project budget, 1/3 comes from Owen. The rest of the 2/3 comes from the applicant and the primary partner. So we want to see that the primary partner is also invested in the success of this project, right? And so we want to see some skin in the game. And if they are Ontario-based, you can leverage their contributions towards Owen dollars. So the general thumb rule to keep in mind with respect to Owen projects is that Ontario-based money can be Ontario-based private sector money can be leveraged against Owen dollars. So that's the primary partner space. One more thing to keep in mind is there are some requirements that the primary partners need to fulfill as part of the project. So they are required to provide a formal letter of support during the full application phase for the Stream 2. And they are also required to sign a funding agreement that comes at the end of the project once it's approved. So that's a very good summary of the primary partner piece.
Okay, that's great. That's very helpful. Thank you, John. And maybe I could just ask on that, because you talked about, the OCI matching piece and the private sector matching piece. Maybe you could just talk just briefly a bit more of an example, because I know we get questions around this and people want to know, is it cash or can we use in-kind services? So maybe you could just talk to what that match actually looks like in a project.
Yeah, so as I told you, let's say you're doing a project with Owen and your total project budget is $1.5 million. The Owen contribution would be one third of that. So that's $500,000. The rest of the two-thirds, rest of the $1 million would come from the primary partner and the applicant. So, uh, and we want to see that, the primary partner or that company is putting skin in the game, or they're donating, or they're contributing towards the success of the project. We want to see that and that is required because that shows that there's evidence of a strong partnership. There's strong evidence of
Right.
the investment from the primary partner, and to show that they are invested and they believe in the project, right? An example that I can give would be one of our projects that we did with a company known as Envision AI. Envision AI is an SME based out of Toronto that is developing safety critical systems for trains. So they were partnering with Thales to develop this solution for them. So it was a project where it was a winter tech project. So the total project budget was $1.5 million. And we put in 500K. The rest of the 1 million came from both Envision and Thales. So that is how we,
Okay.
so they each contributed one third towards the project. So that is what we are asking for when we're talking about contributions from partners.
Right. And is that all cash from the partners, or can they use some sort of services or in kind, or is it all cash?
Great question. Great question. For the Open project, it's not just cash that is leveraged. Equivalent in-kind support is also considered as the equivalent cash value of the in-kind support is
Right.
considered as cash towards the project budget. So that would come towards the project budget.
Perfect. Okay. No, that's great. Thank you for that, John. And just again, maybe to wrap things up and summarize, we talked about the deadlines and submission, but maybe you could just remind people if it's a stream one, that's, I guess, there's a certain, it's opening, it's a continuous call, and then just remind people where they would find the stream two deadlines for submissions. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the stream ones and talent edges, there are no deadlines. It's a rolling intake, which means that stream ones and talent edges are open to everyone throughout the year. So if anyone's interested in talking to or interested in stream one or talent edge, please reach out to me and I'll be able to lead you through the process. The stream twos, as I told you, they open twice every year. The next round opens next spring. If you go to our website, owenhub.ca, on the programs page, you will see the new dates. So the next dates for the dates for next year are still being finalized, and you should be seeing that update come your way in early December. And the application is all portal based. We have a portal known as Access OCI. And if you're interested, talk to me, the sector manager, or the BD managers, and we'll be able to help you with the application.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. And thanks for all the information on the funding, John. Really appreciate it. And I guess if anyone has any questions, they can go to you or they can talk to an RTDS who will do the introduction to you. Is that fair? Yeah. Good. So thank you so much. Appreciate it, John.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. It's been great.
Bye for now. Bye-bye. So there you have it. We have our challenge 4, which was described by Stephen Kemp from the region. And again, you now heard of what all the available funding programs are from OCI through the OVEN program through John George. So considerable number of options there. And just a reminder that successful proponents will need to apply for funding to actually conduct their project. And if you have questions, again, on the challenge specifically, they should be entered really on the bids and tenders page. And you can see the URL down in the lower left-hand corner of the slide. Please put those in. And just a reminder for applications to this, you can go to the Durham RTDS website under the challenge tab, and you will find the description of the challenge and the appropriate RFP documentation there that you will need to actually fill out, and then the submission actually needs to come through the Durham RTDS website as well. But questions, go to the Regional Bids and Tenders website. There are deadlines for this particular challenge. If you have questions, please submit those by December 1st so that answers can actually be posted up for all to see. And that would be December 1st as of 4 p.m. sort of end of business day. And then this particular challenge, actually submissions close on December 18th, 4 p.m. of 2023. So you need to have your actual submissions submitted by the end of December 18th, and you can again submit those through the Durham RTDS website, which is down below. And to learn more really about the Durham RTDS, you can reach out as well at the same website below, and really go to the contact tab, and then get a hold of us, and someone will be happy to speak with you really about that. So thank you very much for attending today's information session. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and bye for now. Take care.